right, so today we're looking at circle graphs. Circle graphs, also known as pie graphs, are a great way to display information where you can kind of see easily the intervals and maybe percentages of data. They're used to compare parts of a data set to the whole set of the data. The entire circle represents the whole set, so the percents in a circle graph will add up to 100%. The 100% is the whole set. So how to make a circle graph? Using part over whole, we determine the decimal, percent, and I even like to use fraction as well. Sometimes you can break it into fractions real easy. So decimal, fraction, or percent of each section. Since there are 360 degrees in a circle, you take the percent for each part or section and you multiply it by 360 degrees. And that's the number of degrees that you need for that part or section. You may have to round up or down to the nearest degree, and after you have the degree measure for each part, you may have to make some further adjustments to be sure that they add up to 360. They must add up to 360 degrees. So you can either use a decimal, fraction, or percent, multiply that by 360, and you'll know how many degrees you need to use for that section. So let's say that there was a total of 500 and there were 50 reds. Okay, well, 50 over 500 is equal to 1/10. So 1/10 of our circle would have to be red. 1/10 is also 10%, and 1/10 of 360 degrees is 36 degrees. So let's construct a circle graph for the following. In a 24-hour day, an average 7th grade student spends 9 hours sleeping, 7.2 hours at school, 2 hours doing homework, 2.8 hours watching TV, and 3 hours doing other things. So this should add up to 24. Yep. So we have 24 hours. So 9 of the 24 hours are spent sleeping. 7.2 out of the 24 is at school. 2 out of the 24, or 1 out of 12, is doing homework. 2.8 out of 24 is watching TV, and 3 out of 24 is doing other things. So here we have figured out the part over whole, which is what we just did up here, to calculate the percent. So 9/24 is 37.5%, 7.2 out of 24 is 30%, 2/24 is 8.3. And remember, we're finding the percentage simply by dividing. 9 divided by 24 gives us 0.375. Move the decimal over 2 spots. So you got to remember right here, that's how you get that percent. So 7.2 divided by 24 gives us 0.3. 0.3 is 30%. 2/24. 2 divided by 24 is that, and that's your percent, etc. So our total comes out to 100%. So the next step is to take each percent and multiply it by 360. So we use the decimal version because it's easy to work with. So I take the decimal amount of time for sleeping, multiply it by 360, and I get 135 degrees. School is 0.3 times 360, homework 0.083 times 360, TV, and other. And so then when we add up all of these degrees, it should come out to 360 degrees. The next thing we have to do is using a protractor, or visually if you can easily do that, construct a circle graph. Make sure to label the graph, each section, and give the percent for each section. So we have sleeping, it says is 37.5%, and sleeping is 135 degrees. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to mark the center of my circle. That's a little low. That's pretty close to the center. No, it's not. Sorry about that. Okay, so I marked the center of my circle. And our 37.5% is 135 degrees. So I come right here. And it's going to be an obtuse angle. 135 degrees is going to bring us about right there. So this is sleeping. Okay, 108 degrees is at school. So I start and I use that vertex and I line up my thing there, and I'm looking for 108 degrees, which is also obtuse. There's 110, here's 108. Have my ruler go to the middle and mark the 108 degrees. This is school. Other was 12.5, which is 45 degrees. I need to line up my point here at the vertex, make sure the school line follows the 0 mark. I'm looking for 45 degrees. I'm going to use my ruler at the center part. There's 40, there's 45. Mark it. This is other. TV is 42 degrees. And this little sliver that's left is homework. So that is how you do a pie graph. That's using the exact measurements to separate it out. Sometimes you can do it visually if the percentages are easy to work with. So let's have one for you to try. Okay, so Hubbell Middle School mascot votes. So in Hubbell Middle School, they are voting on the type of mascot that they want to use. They can choose between the Galloping Gators, the Feisty Cows, the Killer Bees, the Hammerheads, and the Skyhawks. And these are the number of votes. Our total votes add up to 500. And what I found to be the easiest way to do this particular one, you can use percents, but you can also use fractions. The fractions for me were easier to use. So work it either way you want. First of all, find the part over the whole, and you can keep it as a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. Multiply this by 360. And then draw your graph. Give it a shot. When you finish, come back and check the key.